behalf of the Australian Labor Party, I commit to the Uluru Statement from the Heart.
We will ultimately end up with another layer of bureaucracy.
The gap isn't closing fast enough.
No, we don't support this proposal. There's not enough detail about it.
The Prime Minister of this country, the Labor Prime Minister, has not even got the courage to come out and say that he wants a treaty.
Since May last year, federal politicians have been arguing vocally and sometimes bitterly about a proposed referendum for Indigenous recognition through a voice to Parliament. The argument has gone through several phases. There have been constitutional questions.
Our Constitution is not something to be toyed with lightly.
Moral questions.
Indigenous babies born with healthy birth weights, not on track. Finishing year 12, not on track. The voice can help.
I am a great believer in the principle of equality of citizenship.
And also some questionable questions.
Will the Reserve Bank need to consult with the Voice before making a decision on interest rates?
The Yes case and the government have been arguing that the Voice will both change nothing and be transformative. Mirroring this, the No case has argued both that the Voice is tokenistic and will wreak havoc on our systems of government. And today, all those arguments have been crystallised in the formal yes and no cases written by politicians and to be sent out to millions of households by the Australian Electoral Commission.
Well, it's a simple proposition of do you support in recognition of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders as Australia's first peoples, the recognition bit. And then it's about then listening through a voice on matters that directly affect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And we know that you get better outcomes when you listen.
The Prime Minister says he is unlikely to announce a date for the referendum until at least September, so we are in for a couple of months of unofficial campaigning now. The official yes and no pamphlets show how the arguments have morphed over the past 12 months. The language has changed considerably on the yes side. Talk of giving advice or even of making representations has been replaced by talk of listening so governments make better decisions. The Yes pamphlet emphasises that Parliament and Government will still be responsible for all laws, programs and funding. The official No pamphlet, by contrast, shows little change in the arguments, saying the Voice, quote, presents a real risk to our system of government because it, quote, specifically covers all areas of executive government. This means no issue is beyond its reach.
The last couple of months, the conversation's been dominated in the Canberra politics, in the media cycle. Now, the opportunity is for us to get out there in the Australian community and have the conversation with Australians, because ultimately, referendum is about the Australian people.
Money has become a major battleground. The Yes case explicitly says the Voice will save money because funding will be used more effectively. It emphasises practical advice. The No case says the Voice will be costly and bureaucratic, and that we don't know how much additional funding would be allocated to this Voice.
We just think money is going to resolve issues. And we just chuck it there. We've got to start focusing on outcomes.
Well, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people want to see better value for money from the taxpayer investment that's going into these issues facing our communities. It's really important that we start to see better outcomes across the board, especially in those areas such as health, education, jobs and housing.
How are you feeling about it all?
Very good. While the Yes case emphasises that it will be up to the Parliament to get the final say on the shape of the Voice, and Parliament cannot vote on something until voters approve a change to the Constitution, the No case warns that voters are being hoodwinked by the government because it won't tell them what the Voice will look like before the vote.
Why not do it now? And then we could work out if there's any cogs in it, it can be done better, and then we can start looking at the constitutional change. But they said no, we'll do the referendum, then we'll tell you how we're going to do this stuff.
If you thought the official Yes and No pamphlets would at least be the definitive word, think again. Eminent constitutional lawyer Greg Craven, who was part of the expert working group considering the wording of the referendum question, today expressed his fury that a quote from him had been included in the No case pamphlet. Professor Craven said he had written to the opposition last week asking not to be quoted in no campaign material. Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe criticised both the yes and no pamphlets, saying the yes case provided no historical evidence that an advisory body would have an impact, and did not mention other aspects of the Uluru Statement from the Heart, like a treaty.
Black sovereignty.
She was equally scathing of the no case, saying it had clearly taken advantage of the pamphlet not being fact-checked. The no pamphlet does more to embolden racists than boost the case against the Voice, she said. And then there are the unofficial pamphlets like this one, which falsely claims, among other things, that the Voice would force Australians into a treaty and that Australians would be forced to pay tax to the Voice on top of existing taxes. According to the Prime Minister, most Australians will not even engage in the referendum debate until a polling date is announced. According to the polls, support for the yes case has been on a consistent decline. With the release of the official pamphlets, the groundwork for a debate amongst Australians, rather than their leaders, has been laid.